So today we'll continue our discussion about chronic renal failure. So yesterday I told you the causative agents of chronic renal failure can be mostly divided into diseases that are either causing glomerular disease, something like glomerular nephritis, or they are diseases which cause tubular diseases. Okay, diseases that cause tubular pathology, tubular interstitial pathology, and tubular interstitial damage, leading to dilute urine. Okay, so coming to the clinical features of chronic renal failure. Now, these can be divided into two main categories. There can be primary uremic manifestations or they can be secondary uremic manifestations. Okay, so we have primary uremic manifestations. See, whenever the person is having CRF, they are obviously the kidney is not functioning properly, because of which waste products will start accumulating in their body. One of the main effects because of that is uremia. That will cause other other clinical features to appear. Okay, so primary uremic manifestations. Now, these will include, see, these are progressive. These will be slow and progressive, specifically because the renal dysfunction or renal deterioration, that is slow and progressive. As acute renal failure, even if the patient does not develop from acute to chronic, let's suppose they are directly going to chronic, but it is happening over a long period of time because of glomerulonephritis or because of other diseases. Progressively, there will be destruction of your nephrons. Because of that several imbalances will occur. Now those imbalances will include, or they will result in metabolic acidosis. Okay, one of the main complications of this is metabolic acidosis occurs, then hyperkalemia. Okay, this is specifically because your potassium is not able to excrete out of your nephron into the urine. Then sodium and water imbalance. Specifically, what happens is water starts accumulating. As GFR declines, sodium and water cannot pass through Bowman's capsule properly. That is why fluid retention occurs. Hence, sodium and water imbalance. Okay? As fluid retention is occurring, the balance in your body of fluid and sodium both will be disturbed. Specifically because the glomeruli are not filtering properly. GFR significantly decreases in chronic renal failure. It will generally, in chronic renal failure, especially those who are on dialysis, they have a GFR, natural GFR of less than 15 ml per minute. Okay, normally you should be way above 90. Okay, 90 to 110 ml per minute is the normal GFR of a healthy person. In patients with chronic renal failure, you will find that, especially end stage kidney disease, they will have a filtration rate GFR of less than 15 ml per minute or somewhere around that, which is very bad. Hence, you will need to perform dialysis in such patients. You have to externally filter their blood. Okay. Other than that, because GFR is decreasing, another thing will happen. Uric acid will start getting accumulated in your blood, which will lead to hyperuricemia. Okay, so increased amount of uric acid in blood. Increased uric acid in blood. Primary manifestations will all include where waste products which are supposed to be thrown out of your urine, or products that are supposed to be excreted out of the body are not being excreted out, causing manifestations. Okay. Then along with this, the patient will also have azotemia, wherein they are not only having uric acid, but they are having urea, creatinine, and phenols, okay, being accumulated in their blood, and their levels are significantly increasing. See, these three are generally the metabolic waste products of proteins. Whenever there is metabolism of proteins, these waste products are being formed. As such, they are lost in your urine. But because GFR is so low and because your nephrons are not working properly, azotemia occurs in this patient. Now, these are the primary manifestations that you see. Coming to secondary uremic manifestations. secondary uremic manifestations are extra renal. Okay, they will be other than your what do you call, see all of these, the ones that you see on the left, primary uremic manifestations, they are mainly because of of damage in kidney, and they are occurring in systems associated with the kidney directly. Okay, secondary manifestations will be extra renal. Okay, in the sense that you will have renal manifestation as well. Technically, because of renal problems, you are getting these secondary manifestations, and they develop secondary to fluid electrolyte imbalance and acid base imbalance. So initially the patient will have, let's suppose there is CRF developing in the patient, chronic renal failure. They will initially develop primary uremic manifestations where they are having metabolic acidosis, hyperkalemia, sodium water imbalance, water retention, hyperuricemia, azotemia. With this, they will develop secondary manifestations. So because of this, they will develop secondary manifestations. Those manifestations will include anemia. Anemia specifically occurs because of reduced amount of erythropoietin. Now, if you remember, one of the main functions of kidney, specifically one particular cell of kidney called fibroblast, they will help in production of erythropoietin. Erythropoietin is essential for formation of red blood cells, right? Formation of hemoglobin and formation of red blood cells. If you do not have enough amount of erythropoietin in your blood, specifically because यहाँ पर kidney damage हो रहा, erythropoietin is not formed. Because erythropoietin is not formed, ultimately the patient will have anemia due to damaged kidney. Okay? Or you can also tell because of kidney impairment or kidney dysfunction, because it's not working properly, patient is having anemia. Other than that, there will be integumentary system manifestations, in the sense that urobilin or urochrome will start accumulating. If you know, in bile metabolism, one part of bile will get converted into urobilin, and that urobilin comes into your urine. Urobilin is the pigment that gives yellowish discoloration to your urine. Stercobilin is the pigment that gives color to your feces. Okay? यहाँ पर what happens is, in Mamta, are you using your mobile? Yesterday also you had the same problem. Please be careful of where you are holding the device. You might not be holding in a very weird angle, because of which those marks are coming. See. Mobile को सामने रख लो बेटा. Don't touch that mobile. At least the screen of the mobile. If you're using your mobile or if you're using a laptop, this should not happen. Right. Now, the first manifestation is anemia. Second manifestation is this urobilin or urochrome will start getting accumulated inside your blood or inside your body. See, normally urobilin is a byproduct of Are Baba. Urobilin or urochrome is a byproduct of bile, okay, of bilirubin specifically. Whenever that is formed into urochrome, it will be excreted out through urine. यहाँ पर urine का filtration बराबर नहीं हो रहा, right? There is improper filtration of urine and your kidneys are not working properly. Because of that, urobilin starts accumulating inside your body. Ultimately, what happens is there will be yellowish discoloration of your skin, just like jaundice. But you will not see. Yes, Mamta, you have a doubt? You raise your hand. If you have a doubt, please put it in the chat. Now, coming back to this thing, as I was telling you, because urobilin will start getting accumulated in the skin, you will have jaundice-like manifestation, but you might not necessarily have liver dysfunction. The patient will not necessarily show liver dysfunction. It's okay. Just be careful of where you're touching the mobile. It might be because of a mistake. Now, coming back to this thing, as this thing, jaundice is not occurring in the patient. They will not show any liver problems. But यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा? Because urobilin is accumulating in their body, they will start showing yellowish discoloration in the skin. So yellowish discoloration of skin due to urochrome. Urochrome is also called urobilin accumulation. Okay. Normally it should be excreted out in urine. It is not being done in chronic renal failure. That is the second manifestation. Then we have cardiovascular manifestations. Now think of it this way. Agar sodium and water imbalance ho raha, and if there is sodium and water retention in the body, what happens? Hypervolemia will occur. Total amount of blood volume will increase because somewhere or the other water has to go if it is being retained. At one point of time, the total amount of blood in your blood vessels will increase, in your body will increase. That will lead to hypervolemia. Hypervolemia can cause several problems. One thing that will occur is, so initially because of fluid imbalance, there is hypervolemia. Hypervolemia will cause hypertension. Obviously, if there is increased amount of blood in your blood vessels, blood pressure will increase. Other than that, what will happen is your heart, there will be congestive heart failure because water will start or blood will start accumulating inside the ventricles and inside the vessels in the inside the chambers of your heart. Because of that, what happens is complete amount of your cardiac output, even if it looks normal, what is happening is excessive amount of blood is present. So even though cardiac output is normal, heart rate is normal, slowly fluid will start accumulating inside your heart. Along with that, what will happen is hypertension. So hypertension and congestion is occurring. Now this congestion we already read. Whenever there is congestion in the heart, left-sided rendo, right-sided rendo. Right-sided can cause left-sided can cause right-sided congestion. In either cases, your lungs will also start having congestion. Ultimately, what will happen is there will be pulmonary hypertension. Okay? So along with this systemic hypertension, the patient will develop congestive cardiac failure or congestive heart failure, and they will have pulmonary congestion plus edema. Okay? Edema inside your lungs. Okay? Now those are the effects of hypervolemia. Now along with that, what is happening is because of azotemia, mucosal membranes will start getting damaged. Okay, if there is increased amount of urea, if there is increased amount of creatinine and phenols present in your body, it will start causing ulcerations of your mucosal membranes, specifically the lining of your stomach. Oh dear. Mamata, what the hell are you doing? Ari Baba. Please put your phone down. टच कर रहे बल्कि ये पूरा हो रहा, स्क्रीन को टच मत करो. Right. As I was telling you, because of azotemia, mucosal ulcerations will occur of stomach. Okay. Now, along with this, the patient will have skeletal-muscular manifestations. Those skeletal-muscular manifestations will primarily occur as osteomalacia or osteitis fibrosa. Osteomalacia will mainly occur because of deficiency of vitamin D. Okay? Because vitamin D will not get reabsorbed properly, it will lead to osteomalacia. You will touch. Why are you touching the screen? So skeletal muscle पे the patient will have osteomalacia. ठीक है? Skeletal system rather than skeletal muscle, sorry. System. There will be osteomalacia because of vitamin D deficiency. Okay. As this progresses, what happens is osteitis fibrosa will be a condition occurs. Osteitis fibrosa is a condition in which bones will become abnormally weak and they will get deformed. They will lose their proper shape and they will lose their rigidity. So along with osteomalacia, the patient will also have osteitis fibrosa. Okay. So there will be deformation and weakness in bones. Okay. So the structural integrity of your bone will become very weak. यहाँ पर उसका मतलब weakness का मतलब वो है. Okay. Now, other than that, the patient will also have another function. This osteitis fibrosa is specifically occurring because of hyperparathyroidism. Whenever the patient has kidney dysfunction, they will tend to have hyperparathyroidism, and that hyperparathyroidism will lead to what do you call bone disorders, specifically osteitis fibrosa. These are all secondary uremic manifestations. Okay, so with that we have completed chronic renal failure, both the primary renal manifestations and secondary primary uremic manifestations and secondary uremic manifestations. Okay, primary are those which are occurring directly to the kidney, and secondary are those that are occurring due to kidney damage. Okay, all around your body. So now coming to the next topic, hope you understood that. If you have doubts, please let me know.
Sir, please repeat again primary and
I can't hear
secondary.
you, Anusha. Can you be a little louder? Yeah, you can put it in the I. मैडम तुम कहीं को टच कर रहे स्क्रीन को? अरे बाबा, put your phone down. Right, Anusha, you had a doubt. Put it in the chat if you still have a doubt. Wasn't able to
Sir,
hear
that
you.
was not me.
आपका डाउट नहीं था? ओके, अच्छा
No,
ठीक
sir. Maybe somebody else asked you.
है, अच्छा अच्छा, वैसी आवाज आई. If someone else has a doubt, please feel free to ask. अगर आपका माइक्रोफोन काम नहीं कर रहा तो put it in the chat. Okay. You think that is not Mamata? I have a name N Mamta. Okay, fine. Because I can see who is operating this thing as a host. Someone is doing. Okay, I'll kick her out then. We'll see if it is continuing. Then please repeat primary and secondary. अरे बाबा, अच्छा ठीक है. देखो, primary uremic manifestations are those that are occurring directly in the kidney. ठीक है. Chronic renal failure हो रहा because of which kidneys are getting destroyed. Renal failure is occurring. Kidneys are not working properly. Obviously, there is decreased GFR. Now this is a very slow and progressive kind of damage. ठीक है. Chronic renal failure, chronic का मतलब ही है कि it is a very long standing disease and it is going on for a long period of time. Now this can develop as is, or it can go from a patient who has acute renal failure then developing chronic renal failure. Okay, either way. Your brother is doing okay. Okay, keep it away from your brother then. Right. Now, as I was telling you, as this disease progresses slowly, what happens is more and more damage keeps on occurring. At one point of time, see, one clear manifestation that occurs with CRF, chronic renal failure, is that GFR will sharply fall. Okay, normally for a healthy person, GFR, nominal filtration rate, should be somewhere in between 90 to 110. Okay, ml per minute. So 90 to 100 ml per minute of urine is being filtered. That is normal GFR. In CRF patients, that rate will be almost 15 or less than 15, around 15, very, very low. Okay? Or 6 times low basically. Now that can create a lot of problems because urine is not getting filtered properly. Waste materials will start getting accumulated in your body. Now that accumulation of waste materials will lead to metabolic acidosis. It can cause hyperkalemia. It can cause water imbalance, sodium and water imbalance, because fluid gets retained, right? If GFR is very low, sodium and both water will get retained, along with water, sodium will also get retained. Okay? And there will be hyperuricemia, increased amount of uric acid in your blood, along with azotemia. Protein metabolism के तो byproducts रहते हैं, urea, creatinine and phenols. They are not getting excreted in your urine, because of which the patient will have azotemia. These are primary manifestations, direct problem in the kidney and due to the kidney. Now because of these primary manifestations, they can be secondary manifestations. इसकी वजह से systemic effects होते हैं. Those systemic effects will include, first is anemia. Okay? If kidneys are not working properly, there is not enough amount of erythropoietin being secreted. If there is not enough amount of erythropoietin, see, there is a little bit of erythropoietin secreted by your liver as well, but it is not as much as kidneys. Kidney is one of the main driver of erythropoietin. Okay? A producer of erythropoietin. If there is decreased amount of erythropoietin, the patient will have anemia. And along with anemia, the patient will have urobilin or stercobilin. that urobilin or urochrome, sorry, that is a pigment in, one second guys. Yeah, sorry guys. So as I was telling you, someone was nothing to do. As I was telling you, in the secondary manifestations, secondary uremic manifestations, as urinary pigment, okay, the pigment that will give discoloration to color to your urine, which is urochrome or urobilin, that will also start getting accumulated. Because of which, what will happen is the patient will have yellowish discoloration of the skin. It is not related to jaundice, but they will have yellowish discoloration. Along with that, because there is a lot of fluid being accumulated, hypervolemia occurs. The total volume of your blood will significantly shoot up. Because of that, what will happen is BP increases. The hypertension occurs in that patient. Already, the patient who has chronic renal failure, there is a very good chance that they are having hypertension. They will have some degree of hypertension. They will either be in stage 1 or stage 2. But because of this added fluid retention, they will have hypervolemia, which is increasing the hypertension even more, or blood pressure even more. Now this can cause other cardiovascular manifestations. One is that it will lead to heart failure, because there will be accumulation of what you call fluid inside your heart, and it will not be able to compress properly. Okay, other than that, this increased amount of fluid will also cause congestion in your heart, which is causing a congestion in your lungs. Okay, as pressure keeps on going up, अब आपके left ventricles में start हो रहा समझो. If let's suppose in your left ventricle there is accumulation of fluid, that will cause increased pressure in your left atrium. Left atrium को blood कहाँ से आ रहा? It is coming from your lungs, specifically from your pulmonary veins, oxygenated blood. ठीक है, meaning pressure will start building up in the blood vessels that are going all the way to your or coming from your lungs. Okay, this backflow of pressure will start increasing pressure in the blood vessels of your lungs, which in turn will cause edema and congestion inside your lungs, ultimately leading to pulmonary hypertension. Now, along with this, there will be some digestive problems. If there is azotemia, azotemia generally leads to mucosal ulceration, specifically in your stomach. Okay. Now, these ulcerations can be very deep and they can cause complications of their own, wherein they are what you call penetrating into the peritoneum and all of that. But we'll not get into that. Ulcerations are occurring, and there will be skeletal system problems. Bones will become specifically weak because of deficiency of vitamin D. Vitamin D will not be able to work properly, and there will be not proper retainment of vitamin D, ultimately leading to osteomalacia, and there will be osteitis fibrosa. Osteitis fibrosa is a condition in which bones will become abnormally weak and they will get deformed. Okay, they will lose their shape. That is specifically happening because of hyperparathyroidism. Parathormone will shoot up whenever there is renal failure, ultimately leading to osteitis fibrosa. Okay, so that is primary and secondary uremic manifestations. I hope you understood that. Now, coming to renal carcinoma. Okay, renal carcinoma is also called adenocarcinoma or hypernephroma. पूरा उनका same नाम है. ठीक है, renal cell carcinoma भी बोलते हैं उसको. This cancer comprises of 70 to 80% of all renal cancers. Okay, so a major chunk of renal cancers will be renal carcinoma, and it mainly occurs around the ages of 50 to 70, mostly in men. So this cancer comprises of 70 to 80%, 70 to 80% of all renal cancers. Okay, common in men of 50 to 70 years of age. Okay, so this is the basic introduction of your renal cell carcinoma. Hota kya? How is it happening? Okay, there, even though the etiology is somewhat vague, there are a few factors that play a role in causation of renal cell carcinoma. Those include tobacco, either chewing tobacco or what you call smoking tobacco. So I'll just write it as etiology. Okay, one is tobacco. Then a patient who is exposed to asbestos. Exposure to asbestos. Asbestos exposure not only causes renal cell carcinoma, it will also cause pulmonary cancers. Okay. Along with that, in women, if it is occurring, the factors will be obesity or yeah, and estrogen therapy. Estrogen therapy. Okay, so if they are taking either oral contraceptives or they are taking drugs for fertility, either way they become a little more susceptible to renal carcinomas. Then hereditary and acquired cystic diseases. So hereditary and acquired cystic diseases of kidney. Cystic diseases का मतलब है those diseases that form cysts, small pouches inside your kidney. Okay. Then there can be analgesic nephropathy. Analgesic nephropathy का मतलब ये है कि let's suppose someone is taking analgesic. Generally, most analgesics have some or the other complications of your kidneys. They will damage your kidney, especially if they are getting excreted by your kidneys. In such a condition, what will happen is the patient will develop nephropathy. Okay. Yeah. So abuse of analgesics can lead to analgesic nephropathy, which ultimately can lead to carcinomas if it is not controlled. Mamata. Sorry, who is this? So there's three. Please be careful of how you're touching your screen. Right. So other than those factors, right, analgesic nephropathy, there is hereditary and family history. Or just write family history. Easier. First degree relatives and second degree relatives, mainly first degree relatives. Agar brother, mother, father or sister, someone like that, they have carcinoma, there is a 4 to 5 times higher risk that that person will also develop renal cell carcinoma if they have first degree relatives who have renal cell carcinoma. Then hypertension. Hypertension can also be a causative agent for renal cell carcinomas. Now, the pathological changes that you see in renal cell carcinoma, generally this carcinoma will arise at the poles of the kidneys. Okay, if you let's suppose this is your kidney, this will be the upper pole, this will be the lower pole, this will be the median border. Okay, basic anatomy. Now, generally, this renal cell carcinoma will appear on the poles, specifically more often in the upper pole. Okay, the tumor is solitary and it can be unilateral tumor. Mostly it is unilateral, meaning occurring in one kidney, and it will occur as a single tumor. And this tumor is large, it is golden yellow, and it is circumscribed. So the tumor will be relatively large, it is goldenish yellow, and it is circumscribed. Circumscribed ka matlab hai it has well defined borders. Okay. Now there can be papillary tumors as well, wherein small papillae like tumors are occurring. Now papillary tumors will be multifocal and they will be generally bilateral, occurring in both the kidneys. Okay. You will see them as small papillae all around your kidney. Okay. I'll show you examples later on in the next class. These images how they look, because you have several types of renal cell carcinomas and you'll understand in that a little better. Now, grossly, they will appear as papillae. If you cut into the tumor, this papillary tumor or any tumor of renal cell carcinoma origin, it will have a region of ischemic necrosis. Okay, there will be one region where there is proper necrosis occurring because that region is not getting enough amount of blood and oxygen. That is why ischemic necrosis. There will be cystic changes and there will be hemorrhages, small spots of hemorrhages in that area. It will show blood loss in that area. Now, another significant characteristic feature that you see in this is that there will be tumor thrombus, meaning let's suppose यहाँ से आपके blood vessels जा रहे, your renal vein will enter into your inferior vena cava, which is going like this, right? Both the renal veins will drain into your inferior vena cava. Now what happens is sometimes these thrombus or this tumor will detach from kidney and they will act as a thrombus, meaning they will get lodged inside your renal vein, or they might enter into your vena cava, and they might start blocking that area. And whenever there is a foreign body present in your blood, obviously your platelets will go to that area, they will start getting stuck to that area, and there'll be a proper thrombus being formed. Okay, this thrombus might start blocking your renal vein, or it might enter into your inferior vena cava, where it is having a free run all over your body. Okay, and it can go anywhere into your body. Now, the features and various types of renal cell carcinoma we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. By the way, do you guys have a free period at तुम लोगों को शाम में कौन से classes है? You have classes in the evening.